Well, things have gone from bad to worst for Patrick Bet David, because yesterday I did a video all about how he was getting exposed for being involved with this company called Goliath. They were apparently running some sort of Ponzi, pyramid, upside down triangle scheme. I mean, these guys really had an upside down triangle as their goddamn logo. It doesn't get more ridiculous than that. But Patrick Bet David got absolutely cooked by CoffeeZilla for taking $1 million from these scammers, not giving it back to the people who need it to get made whole. And now, because he refused to apologize, because he refused to back down, now people are digging even deeper into his dark, nefarious past, and it's worse than we could have possibly imagined. Patrick Bet David getting cooked. So, this is the latest, all right? Basically, after that CoffeeZilla interview, people have been saying, hang on a minute, this guy might not be as legit as we thought. And now people are digging back into his past. More stuff is coming up. So this is one of the things that's popping up. So apparently just last year, he was defending his company, the PHP agency, and he claimed it wasn't a multi-level marketing scheme. We sold insurance. It's not an MLM. It's not an LLM. It's not a multi-level marketing triangular-shaped scheme. All right? It's not an upside down triangle scheme. No, this is an insurance company. It might be cap. Listen to this.
I think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on CoffeeZilla. What do you think?
I think it's not really capitalist.
Hang on a second. Do you think if I was worried about my business model, I would go on CoffeeZilla? They were actually very strong when they came back after me. We had a 2-hour conversation.
Yes.
We finished it. It was good to go. We moved on. Their claims that only 1% or 2% make and nobody makes it in insurance, they're right. Most people don't make it in insurance. Just like most people who move to California don't make it in Hollywood.
So I believe
and
the
most people
technical
don't make it in
term
real
for when you
estate.
make more money from getting people to be part of a company than from actually selling a service is called a multi-level marketing scheme. Do you think that that's a fair characterization of your company? Why not?
Do you know what multi-level is?
Yes, I know. It's where you make more money from, it's sort of like a pyramid scheme, wherein you make more money from getting people to be part of it and selling them to be part of the company.
A pyramid scheme doesn't have a product. Do you think
pyramid schemes can have products, buddy? Okay. So basically, let me give you a backstory of how Patrick Bet David allegedly made his millions, and you can tell me if you think this sounds a bit like an upside down triangle scheme.
Patrick Bet David made his millions running a multi-level marketing company. PHP, people helping people, or people helping Patrick. The interviews that you've seen with Kobe Bryant, Jordan Peterson, etc., these are at PHP events, but that's not included in any of the branding. You have to be eagle-eyed and pause the video at the right moment to see in the background some logo that says PHP or somebody in the crowd wearing a shirt that says PHP. He then took that content and released it on his own separate channel that had nothing to do with PHP called Valuetainment or PBD podcast and built a personal brand off the back of the money that he was generating from the MLM.
This is insurance? This is an insurance company, yes.
Now it's the insurance company, and now he's reached escape velocity where he has millions of followers who follow him for being a personal brand, which makes people more resistant to the idea that he ever was once running one of these kinds of organizations. Do you see how actually diabolical that is? Patrick Bet David made his millions.
So look, I don't know what PHP stands for. Maybe it stands for Patrick's Hidden Pyramid, okay? But basically he's saying, no, pyramid schemes don't have products. Sometimes they do. And he's saying, basically the idea is that he had this dodgy insurance company that was running like a multi-level marketing scheme, and he basically got some money and some success out of that. Before that imploded, he was basically able to parlay that into a successful career as a podcaster, as a presenter, as a you could argue, some people might argue conservative grifter, but basically, okay, he wants to sweep the PHP, all right, Patrick's Hidden Pyramid under the rug. Okay, that's not really what it stands for. I'm joking. That's satire. Don't sue me. But anyway, a lot of people have been bringing this up. So the YouTuber Always Marco has actually interviewed some former PHP employees and affiliates about their experiences, and it wasn't a great look.
I was watching his content. I had a LinkedIn. I followed Patrick on LinkedIn. I think I liked one of his posts, and I got a message on LinkedIn, and it was one of the PHP agents. He reached out to me and basically asked me the typical spiel of, hey, do you keep your work options open, all that. And at the time, I was actually 17 years old. I was going into my senior year of high school, and I basically just went through the recruitment process with him. We hopped on a call, and he gave me the typical pitch that they give. I was very interested, but at the time I didn't even have a credit card or anything like that. So I wasn't able to actually sign up because, I didn't have the ability. You have to pay $200 to join PHP.
If you're trying to get a job and you're doing a job interview and you have to pay to get the job, you're being scammed.
And so that kind of went away. And the funny thing was, when I told the guy that I was 17, he basically told me that, it's kind of an issue, but it's not really an issue. And looking back on it, I realized that he was probably just trying to hit a target. And I'm guessing now that he was going to maybe like fabricate my date of birth almost to get it in the system so he could hit his like promotion or something. That was my first exposure. And
so a lot of people have been kind of, have come across Patrick's company, and it just don't really add up. What do you mean $200? I'm no big city lawyer, big city, big money person, but I've got a few people that work for me. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, how on earth could I ask potential employees, you got to pay me so that I can line you up this job? It sounds like nonsense, right? And it's described here as multi-level misery, which I do think is actually a pretty interesting way of putting it. But according to one allegation, Patrick's company had allegedly been targeting specific demographics of lower income and minorities without any prior business experience or knowledge, essentially preying on the vulnerable in society. Not a great look.
As a side note here, I just want to say I think it's really deplorable how, and every MLM in my experience does this, but on PHP's website right now in 2026, if you go to their website on the homepage, phpagency.com, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that they have a breakdown of their diversity stats. And it says 43% of the company is Hispanic or Latino, 34% Black African American. So already we're at 77%, 12% other, 11% white. The gender breakdown, 53% women, 47% men, 92% of people had no prior industry experience, 7% were military veterans, average age, 35 years old. So to me, this paints a picture of what they're doing. And even in Patrick's, I think it's his DJ Vlad interview, he talks about going and getting specifically young Latino women, young Hispanic women to sell this stuff. And it's just, not only is it ironic considering Patrick's views on like immigration and, diversity on his podcast, where he's like this very conservative sort of right-wing guy, which is completely contradicted by how he seems to run his company or who he targets for his company. But I don't know, I just have this picture in my mind of like, Spanish speaking single mom, average age 35 years old, no prior industry experience, maybe it's military wives, and it's just preying on a community, in my opinion, that has been known for strong family ties, working hard, supporting each other, and using that for a nefarious purpose. And, you look at the income disclosure from PHP. We know most people are losing money once you factor in even just their $150, or I don't know how much it is today. I think maybe $200. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, $200 now. Okay. So, once you factor in just that cost, never mind the opportunity cost of your time, never mind whatever other monthly fees there might be, never mind whatever other training there is, never mind gas getting to and from the office if you're going in person. And now with this breakdown of the demographics, we know what people are losing money. And I just think...
So, look, they're saying he preying on the most vulnerable people. He getting Hispanic and low-income people with strong family ties to get in and sell this thing. It really does sound like multi-level misery to me. So former recruits from Patrick's companies also claim that they were actually trained to sell to their close friends and family first before then being pushed to buy insurance policies themselves. So you think you're getting a job and then they telling you to go and sell insurance to your family. Next thing you know, they try and say, hey, your turn to buy some insurance from yourself.
And then you create a top 25 is what they call it, where it's like your top 25 people that fit a certain criteria of, okay, maybe they have a family or they're this age to this age, or maybe they might have their work options open or whatever it may be. And that's basically anybody you can think of in your phone. And then you have to complete field trainings, which are essentially sales calls. And then you have to do a financial analysis. in order to get the fast start school again. And the financial analysis is basically you having to buy a policy. And for me specifically, this is a bit of a story. When I was on the call with my mentor at the time, I basically expressed like, listen, I really don't think I need a policy. I really don't think I need a policy. And he says, he basically said two things. First, he said, okay, well, how can you sell something if you don't believe in it? And I was like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And then the second thing he said was, I mentioned to him, like, listen, if something were to happen to me, I'm pretty sure my family would be able to take care of everything. Like maybe there will be costs, but like the odds are pretty low that I die first off. But then also, I'm pretty sure he can handle it. Like my dad's 50, he's got a job, whatever. And he said, well, do you really want to put that burden on your family in like the hardest time of their life? And so you get your policy. And another thing you have to do is get a big event ticket. So you basically buy a ticket to go to one of Patrick's events. And then, yeah, so again, this list of things is to get to Fast Start School.
So to work for him, you got to buy his insurance and you got to buy a ticket to his event. It just sounds like a whole load of nonsense. So what's really crazy is, okay, one former recruit actually claimed that he was expected to make sales calls before even getting licensed, meaning that he didn't even get commission for selling policies vis-a-vis free labor.
Okay, we can take this call one of two ways. We can talk to you more about PHP agency, what we do, how you can like earn an income with us, or we can talk to you more about like the product side and then kind of go that way. For me, all these calls ended up being sales calls, basically to try to sell policies, because the people were all typically older with jobs and stuff. But if they were my age, then it would pretty much be a recruitment call. So it kind of depended on the person. The kicker with this is that when you're doing these calls, because they frame it as exposure and you're getting training, you're not licensed yet. So any sale that's made, the commission goes straight to your mentor.
Yes, this is something I've talked about in my videos before. There's a really big insurance-themed MLM company whose name I can't remember for legal reasons, but I talked about how their Fast Start program, they have a system where they're trying to get you this Fast Start bonus, where you recruit 6 people and sell them a policy as well. But it's before you're licensed, and they tell you that it's part of your licensing process, it's part of your training, that you do this before you're licensed so that you have experience. This is how they frame it, right? So that you have
exactly
experience.
What they say.
Yeah, so that you have experience before you get licensed. So that way when you're licensed, you're ready to go. Well, really what it is that they're just leeching and sucking the blood of your warm market, who are going to be the people most likely to buy sales, your immediate friends and family. And then they get all of the commission. And then afterwards, when you are licensed, those people are already paid up with your upline, so they're not buying from you, and chances are you're not going to have much luck selling to the people who you're less familiar with, like not immediate friends, or like, God forbid, trying to go out there in the world and like cold sell life insurance. Good luck. So now your only option really is to tap someone else's warm market, tap root someone else's warm market. So
that's diabolical, right? Just imagine that. You sign up and they like, yo, make a list of all the 25 people in your life that you're closest to that you think you'll be able to sell to easily. Great. Now we're going to put you on sales calls with a mentor, but you ain't trained yet. So we're going to take your leads. We're going to get the big dog that's above you in the... he's above you in the structure of the company. And then he's going to be getting all the commission out of all your people. You're not trained yet, so you're just getting some good experience harvesting all your contacts. And then by the time you trying to get some commission, you done pissed off everyone in your life. You done scammed everyone in your life out of insurance. It's crazy. Okay, I didn't even know it got this deep with Patrick's scheme, man. So business. So one insider described massive pay gaps inside of his company, along with alleged humiliation rituals. This was a real just torture chamber.
One of the things that would hurt me the most was that let's say that month I made 15,000. My top guy made like $3,000 that month. And this is the guy that was there as many hours as me, probably doing the same amount of work that I was doing. And he only made like $3,000. And everybody else was making $50. I would get their commission checks because they would all be under my dashboard, $50, $100. And these guys were the ones that would like be pushing for me. we would call them flag carriers. The flag carrier gets your MD, it gets your upline to their promotion. These guys were like my flag carriers that would be there all day long, pushing and fighting for me. And I felt bad because there was one guy that I completely humiliated, because he told me he was going to do 3 recruits that week. He didn't do it. And so his punishment was, if you don't do it, before we started this competition, it was like, or this bet, if you don't do 3 recruits, what are you giving up? He's like, you can cut my hair. Like, everybody's like on board for that. And I was like, okay, cool. If you don't get 3 recruits, I'm cutting your hair. And guess what? It was this one thing, was like, I'm a dad now. And the one thing I always try to do with my kids is I try to keep my promises. If I tell my son, I'm going to go get ice cream with you today, and I don't do it, even though he's little, he's going to remember my dad told me this, and he didn't do it, right? He didn't follow through. And it was kind of like that with my agents. I had to keep my promises. So guess what? At the end of the week, hey, how much recruits did you get? 1. You didn't do 3. I have to keep my promise. I have to cut your hair. Even as much as I don't want to, I have to keep my promise. So guess what? We told everybody he's getting his haircut today. He didn't do what he was supposed to. We had maybe 150 people there at the office that day. Brought him up to the front. I get the machine. I cut his hair in front of everybody. Complete humiliation. This guy's looking at me just smiling, but you could tell he's just wanting to cry. And I'm right there cutting his hair in front of everybody. Everyone's screaming like the Wolf of Wall Street when they're throwing those midgets against the bullseye dart or whatever. That's what it was. Everybody was hyping him up, like hyping me up. Cut his hair, like throw the hair, all these things. And this guy's right there getting humiliated. Yet the week before that, Marco, he was right there every single day with me at the office, grinding every single day for me. And the next week, I'm cutting his hair in front of everybody. And yet, guess what? He was like, "Thank you for keeping your promise. I deserve that." And at the time, I was like, "Yeah, you do." Like I did what I was supposed to do. Everybody.
You did what you're supposed to do, man. He got in there and did what you're supposed to do. Now, this shit's crazy because this reminds me of this. Remember this in Wolf of Wall Street? He just mentioned it. But they really shaved a girl's head in Wolf of Wall Street, right? And they were saying she getting 10,000 to shave her fucking head. And the actress really did have her head shaved in the movie, which is crazy. But this was kind of a moment that was just like, yeah, this Wolf of Wall Street shit is so out of control. Jordan Belfort and Stratton Oakmont are so out of control. They're devastating. And if you see in the movie, the girl gets her head shaved for 10 grand. And then afterwards, like, she's crying sad, like, oh, what the hell have I done? What have these horrible men made me do for their entertainment, their amusement? These rich, horrible guys just creating a circus in the office. That Patrick had this going on for real. He was doing the Wolf of Wall Street for real, bro. And I can't remember if anybody's seen the Wolf of Wall Street to the end of the movie, but can anyone remind me what happens at the end of the movie? Oh, yeah, everyone goes to jail for fraud, for nonsense. So anyway, inside the alleged MLM, all right, just like Jordan Belfort at Stratton Oakmont, people were apparently treating Patrick Bet-David, PBD, like a god.
He did make appearances and calls. And this is a great question because it gives me an opportunity to talk about something else. For being a somewhat Christian organization, they really love to make idols. Patrick is like a deity.
Yep.
He's deified in PHP.
Yes. Yep. And guess what? Every other MLM CEO, it's the same thing, which is there's layers to the brainwash of it all, because not only are you idolizing some guy who's literally just like a scammer who spits motivational quotes all day, but how are you your own business owner if you have a CEO? Like all these people that talk about being entrepreneurs and having their own company, their CEO will come to the conference and they'll be like, make some noise for our CEO. Woo! And it's like, but I thought you were the CEO. How can you have a CEO if you're the CEO?
See, it's nonsense, right? It's like you all CEOs of your own shit because we don't want to officially employ you. But you all need to bow down on your knees and worship PBD. It is unusual, right? So, depending on how talented you were at his company, apparently former affiliates were claiming that leaving the company could lead to pressure and harassment to come back. He low-key running his company out here like the Church of Scientology or something, man. The harassment's
April
crazy.
2015, I'm sorry, I left in 2019 because it was 4 years, and I decided, like, this is the day I leave. And I remember that when I left, I got a visit from Hector Del Toro, came to my parents' house, and he was like, "Where you been at, man? I haven't seen you at the office." Brought me in his car, and he was talking to me. He's like, "What are you doing now?" I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. And he just tried to start convincing me to come back and all these things. And And it almost worked. It almost worked because it reminded me of the day that he walked into my orientation, and he was like, "Don't show this guy MD because it's not even going to get there." And that right there was like, I did it. I proved you wrong. You ever seen Molly's Game, the movie, and the real story about Molly?
Right.
Like, it was that full circle moment. It was like, I did prove you right. Like, I did prove you wrong. I mean, I did do what I told you that I was going to do, but at what cost, right? And so,
absolutely.
I remember that he was trying to get me back in, and I said no. I remember that I was getting constant DMs on social media, on everything, just people saying like, you're a quitter, you're not going to amount to anything. I remember Patrick one time told me in my face, he's like, you are not going to be anything besides the most you're going to achieve in your life. It's going to be a manager at a Nissan, something along those lines. That's the most, right? Because you are not going to be anything outside of that. You are going to be a manager at a Nissan. That's to some people that's good enough, but I mean, that's how I look at you. And I remember that I looked at him, I was like, I'm going to be much more than that, right? Like, you're not going to talk to me like this. And that's when I think towards the end, I started being this going rogue, where you couldn't talk to your uplines a certain way. I couldn't talk to Erica Del Toro a certain way because I had to be aligned with her. And I remember one time she was telling me, like, you're not recruiting anymore. You used to be this great badass recruiter, and now you're not recruiting anybody. And I was like, you're not there when I'm getting shut down every single day at Walmarts and Targets, when people are not wanting to listen to me. You're not there when I'm DMing people at midnight trying to recruit them, and then they're telling me yes, and then they ghost me. Like, you're not there when I'm doing all these things. So how dare you sit here in front of me and tell me that I'm not doing this business like the way I'm supposed to? It's just that the business doesn't work, and people are now not wanting to do something like this because I've already damaged so much people in my city with the bad taste of PHP, that now these people are not wanting to get recruited for my own actions because this business doesn't work.
Right.
So he's saying he damaged his reputation in his city. The whole city turned their back on him because he was over here plugging the MLM for Patrick Bet David, man. It's crazy. So look, I think the backlash is only just beginning. I think PBD, he's got such a big audience of people that rock with him. I don't think he could ever be completely gotten out of here. But I do think more and more people are waking up to the fact that he seems, in a lot of people's opinions, he seems like a bit of a grifter. He seems a bit full of shit. He seems like a hood hopper in terms of he'll just say what he'll interview Trump, he'll denounce Trump, he'll just change, he'll shapeshift. He's a chameleon. He'll just do whatever he has to do to get the clout, to get the money, to get the attention, all of that stuff, right? He will just do whatever he has to do. I don't really respect the guy, but hey, okay, I could be wrong, all right? Clearly, he's very smart. He's very smart when it comes to YouTube. He's very smart when it comes to business, but is he ethical? Is he, like, is his heart in the right place? He's probably stomped on a lot of people's dreams and aspirations to get to where he is for his benefit. The little guy that got stepped on, that sold dodgy insurance to all of his friends and families and never really got nothing out of it, that got his head shaved, right? This guy's left a trail of destruction in his wake. So I think a lot of people are waking up to that now because of the CoffeeZilla expose, and I think there might be some more devastating news coming for Patrick very soon. If that happens, I will be sure to keep you guys informed. I will be putting PBD on my list of people to look out for because I know you guys enjoyed the last breakdown that I did, so he will be going on the list, all right? I was about to say the kill list, maybe the metaphorical smoke list, all right? We might be rolling up a PBD blunt one of these days, metaphorically, his career. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next video. Hope you enjoyed that. I got another video lined up, and I'm going to try and freestyle maybe a few more videos today. I want to just lock in and do like 5 videos today if I can. I'm going to try my best. But anyway, I'm out here for now. Peace out. Thank you. Bye.